Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. A billionaire hedge fund owner, Ken Griffin. You remember him. He started Citadel. Used to be in Chicago. Now it's in Miami. Ken Griffin appearing at the Milken Institute confab. And he was asked by Sarah Eisen from CNBC about that video that Zohran Mamdani, the commie mayor of New York, posted announcing his proposed pied-à-terre tax because people like Ken Griffin are making out on New York real estate prices even though they don't live there. So they should pay more than your average property owner. Called out by name in front of the building where he owns a penthouse. Griffin asked about how he felt about being pointed out by Mamdani.
Speaking of warm greetings, I was going to do this, wanted to do this interview outside your apartment, but I thought it would be creepy and weird. So how did you feel about the mayor's little video?
It was creepy and weird.
Agreed.
I mean, like, knock, knock, knock on the window. Like, Mayor of New York
knock
City.
on the screen, yeah.
Yeah, on the screen, like.
Yeah.
Like that's
How many times have you watched that video?
Three.
What are you
going to
do about it?
I couldn't help myself.
You had to what?
I had to go back and look at it again. I mean, like, you literally look at the first time, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. Okay? And then the second time, you're like, you know what, this has gone from creepy to actually not really creepy. This has gone to frightening because, you know, the CEO of United Healthcare was killed just a few blocks from my house. And anything that creates like an agitation in the extremist on either side of the aisle is a frightening dynamic. I mean, you know, if we look at what happened in D.C.
And he went on to say in response to an inquiry that video that Mamdani did got him and his partners thinking about where to deploy their capital and whether or not to move forward with the big project that we mentioned he has underway in New York City.
So where does that leave us at 350 Park?
That leaves us with the fact that we went to Miami and revised our building plan to make it a bigger office building.
You're bailing?
So what do we do at 350 is still a point of discussion internally. But what is no longer a point of discussion is that Miami is now, you know, when we moved from Chicago, there was a debate between New York and Miami. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. I'll leave it at that. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. And now what the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami because we want to be in a state that embraces business, that embraces education, that embraces personal freedom and liberty, and that embraces people having an opportunity to live the American dream.
For more on this, please be joined by Jeffrey Tucker, founder and president of the Brownstone Institute, senior economics columnist for the Epoch Times as well. Jeffrey Tucker, thanks for joining us again. Good to talk to you.
Well, it's good to be here. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about this, the disintegration of big blue cities in America that continues at a breakneck pace. Who will do the most destruction? Karen Bass, Brandon Johnson, or Zohran Mamdani?
Yeah, it's a problem all throughout the Northeast and the coastal areas of the country, and it's sad because it's like watching a disaster take place that's preventable, obviously. But the people who are in charge have no incentive to prevent it. They have every incentive just to take whatever's not nailed down and drive out capital and drive out residents and drive out enterprise. And they pay no price for this at all. It's tragic because I live in New England and I'm sad all the time because we have the most beautiful, most wonderful historical infrastructure, beautiful culture. All the great cultural landmarks are here, the museums, the symphonies, everything. But what you see is a sort of a gradual draining of enterprise, energy, and even inertia to try to stop the calamity that's in progress right now. I mean, in Connecticut and Massachusetts, it's all the politics is all talk about cracking down on freedom, basically, taking more property, raising taxes, imposing more mandates, stopping school reforms, cracking down on homeschoolers, giving everybody more vaccines. I mean, you just can't believe it. There's no efforts in the other direction, or rather, that the efforts are a minority opinion, and they can't seem to get a foothold in the state legislatures and in the elections. It's sad to watch it.
It is. Well, and I and many others would say the same thing about the great city that was Chicago. There's no question. And so, but the other thing that Ken Griffin mentioned there, in terms of it being essentially dangerous to animate the fringe to target people like the United Healthcare CEO, and we know the United Healthcare CEO assassination inspired the arsonist who set the fire that burned down the Pacific Palisades now too. So this is serious business. And Ken Griffin, who has a security detail because he needs one, when Ken Griffin is saying something like that, I mean, it does not give the left any pause. I mean, after things like the White House Correspondents Association dinner, you get some of the pro-force statements about, political violence is never acceptable, but then they're turning around and they're putting targets on people's backs.
That's true. And you saw in the case of that White House Correspondents' Dinner killer, the judge apologized to him,
right,
for his treatment. So I mean, there is a sense in which the left is sort of valorizing murder in a way. We saw it with that what was his name, Mangione or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just the first sign of a growing problem. There's an ethos that's developing within subcultures in this country that sees violence as the solution, and these people are being sort of heralded as populist heroes, martyrs for the cause. That is undoubtedly true. It's been growing ever since Trump took office, because again, there's a subset of this population that just believes that the only real solution is to start to take people out. It's terrifying. I have friends of mine who are not hugely famous, but they have podcasts that have substantial audiences and things like that. And when they travel around the country, they themselves are hiring security details, and conferences, even small, medium-sized conferences are having to hire security for just to be cautious about what could happen.
You see it on college campuses still. I mean, we don't talk about college campuses the way we used to, but there was a Federal Society event at UCLA with a DHS lawyer speaking to a bunch of aspiring attorneys, and it was taken over. These are people that are seeking to be officers of the court, and it was taken over by these intemperate, ignorant UCLA law students and whatever other rabble. There was security there because there needed to be security there. I mean, this is just sort of the new norm even as we're, sort of out of the height of the cancel culture from, 5 or 6 years ago?
Well, cancel culture is civilized compared to this. At least under cancel culture, they just smear you in public. But, training an assassin's bullet on you is another matter entirely. And the caution here is understandable. People feel like they'd rather be safe than sorry. So, it's become like this. And people are getting increasingly nervous about even attending events without security, or that are dealing in any kind of quasi-controversial. And when I say controversial, I don't really mean like left controversial. I mean right controversial, right? I mean this is all an attack. As far as I can tell, this is an attack on the right. I mean, the Charlie Kirk killing was paradigmatic in that sense. This is anybody who's considered by the fevered imaginations of left-wing activists to be Trump-aligned. And by the way, that would include me, which is, there was some article the other day. I actually disappear every day. Somebody described Brownstone Institute as MAGA-aligned. I don't even know what that means, but I mean, that's not even, I don't even know what to say about that, because I mean, Brownstone has been very critical of Trump administration policies in many respects. I mean, we're independent, but once a national media source describes you as MAGA-aligned, it just makes it true, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Being a bit of a cinephile, I was interested to read your brief review of all things Devil Wears Prada 2. Which you highly recommended, and I wanted to get your review. And your review seems perfectly timed, as does the release of the movie, with the Met Gala that took place over the weekend, with the performance art of Sarah Paulson, an actress worth $15 million, wearing a dollar bill over her mouth to shame the rich.
Yeah, I thought it was just an absolutely thrilling movie. I mean, just a great send-up of modern corporate life. Where what is it, 25 years later after the original, and all the people in. Yeah, I mean, the firm, the magazine in question, which I think is called something like Runway, is. We're greeted with the CEO or the editor at the very outset, and now she has to hang up her own coat because somebody ratted her out to HR for making other people hang up HR. So that's the first overlord, and then the very second scene is that they're having to take a trip across town to visit their advertisers. And they're absurdly acquiescent to whatever it is that the advertisers want. You're like, okay, now we're meeting the second layer of overlords here. You're not really a magazine with an editor anymore. Now you're ruled by HR, advertisers, and okay, what's the third force? The third force is, of course, the debt holders. The equity, private equity that actually owns the magazine, and many others. Condé Nast or whatever is basically it. So that's the third layer of overlords. So an independent, there's no such thing as independent companies anymore. They're run by HR, advertisers, and private equity, which themselves are seriously levered up. So the whole film just really captures the absurdity. And the CEO of the private equity company that owns magazines dies suddenly, during a dinner, and his son inherits the company, who very quickly hires a series of McKinsey consultants to come in and refurbish the publication.
I love your delight even in recalling it. Yes, great.
No, it's so perfect. So then that sends them out on a mad scramble to have the company taken over by somebody else. And in this case, it turns out to be the extremely rich, widow of a former Google executive, emancipates the company from all these things. So anyway, it's just perfect, and it illustrates just the sheer decadence of levered capital these days, and its complete lack of experience, culture, sense of beauty, concern for human dignity. I mean, and that's the movie was just outrageously.
Wow.
It was just outrageously perfect. I was delighted by it from the first to the last. Really, I mean.
Now I'm gonna have to go see. That was not going to be on my watch list, but now I'm going to have to go see it. But I think I'm probably going to have to wear that mask that Rachel Ziegler wore on the runway at the Met Gala when I go to the theater to see this. But yeah, okay, all right, I'm convinced.
That was a flop. That I thought the Met Gala this year was just overall pretty darn shabby, actually, but the mask on the eyes was a little bit much. Yeah, actually, there was a lot of things that was pretty disgusting about the Met Gala. I don't know. More and more aspects of the world. I keep recalling, scenes from the Hunger Games with District 1, and how they're living high life while everybody else is suffering. And that's what I see here more and more. And by the way, this is, this observation about where we're going is not limited to the right or the left. I mean, it's like everybody sees it. I was talking to a wealth manager last night about, why is the stock market soaring? And nobody knows. I mean, nobody can figure it out. Like there's no actual explanation. There's no justification in any kind of underlying data. 70% of consumers, report that they're having a hard time paying their bills. The underlying economic data is not even slightly impressive to the extent that you can even trust it, right? And which is another problem that we face today. Is like nobody actually knows, and yet the market just goes up and up and up and up and up and up. And if you get on the other side of this, so that you're living off rising valuations in your vast portfolio, you're in good shape. But if you're not on that side of things and you're paying the bills, you're suffering more and more. I mean, that's sort of where we are, and it does seem to be unsustainable, I would say, with unpredictable political consequences.
Jeffrey Tucker, founder and president of the Brownstone Institute, senior economics columnist for the Epoch Times as well. Jeffrey Tucker, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Take care. And you join us on the alphawealthgroup.com answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, this is Sean Thompson. Most of us spend our entire lives in the paycheck mode. You work, you get 30% taken from the G, you pay your bills, repeat and rinse. And that's how time goes by. Then all of a sudden you're old.